Welcome, Dr. Divyansha Kumar to PhD Catalyst. We are happy to have you on our PhD interview series where we share successful PhD journeys with aspirants so that they get an complete overview about how PhD scholars have overcome different challenges and completed their PhD journey in time. So thank you for agreeing to do interview with PhD Catalyst. May I request you to kindly introduce yourself?
Right. So thank you so much, Dr. Sutton, for having me. It's my honor and my privilege to firstly be a part of this initiative. And I think this is one of the best initiatives that could happen, especially for all the aspirants of PhD and, even postdoc, because we need a platform where we can actually search and understand how to go about things. This is a very lonely journey, and we actually need in a lot of places. So I think it's one of the best platforms, and I wish you all the best for this platform. And I'm deeply humbled, and I'm greatly honored. So I'll just introduce myself briefly. So currently, my name is Dr. Divyansha Kumar. I am currently working as an assistant professor at Amity University, Punjab, which is in Mohali. I am a marketing professor, assistant professor there, and I teach students of BBA, MBA, and BCom. And I've been doing this for the past almost 1 year. Before this, of course, I was deeply engaged and in my PhD. So that is actually what we're going to talk about today. So before the job, I was doing my PhD, and yes, so let's start with that then.
Great. So prior to enrolling to PhD, you were working somewhere or you completed your master's and immediately joined PhD?
All right. So my background is, so I have done my BTech from Golgotha's University, and I was an associate software engineer at Accenture in Bangalore. So I did my job there for around 1 year. After that, since I wasn't really able to connect with that job so much, so I quit that job. I came back to my hometown, that is Lucknow, and I started teaching underprivileged children. And I was associated with an NGO called as Project K. So I worked with them for around 3 years on the ground, and 2 years after that, almost 3 years after that, 6 years in
Okay.
total
Okay.
at the back end part. So I've been associated with that NGO for a long time, and I got the idea of entering into the teaching world through that NGO. And yes, so while I was teaching those children, we were actually teaching them through play, life skill education, recognized by UNESCO. So I joined my MBA, and I did right after my MBA. While I was doing my MBA, I knew that I was going to teach after this. So I did not sit for any interviews in my MBA. I was very much focused on appearing for my PhD entrance and enrolling for PhD. So right after my MBA, I enrolled for PhD in symbiosis, and rest is, as you know, history.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Great.
Yeah.
So while thinking of enrolling into PhD, you had certain assumptions prior to enrolling PhD, and uh, was there any plan to do full-time or part-time PhD?
All right. Yes. So one thing I was very clear in my mind, and I think it was because of the teachers that I had in my MBA. So I did my MBA from Jaipur Institute of Management, and great teachers, great mentors. In fact, they had encouraged me to firstly gain an experience in the industry and then probably go into teaching. But I was very strong-headed in that. I was like, no, I have to do PhD and I have to be a professor. This is my dream now. So they guided me. They said, okay, if you're not working anywhere and if you're just enrolling for PhD, then they said that go for JRF, study well, and because you earning as well, not as much, but then you'll be able to, fulfill whatever basic needs that you require through that. So I studied for that. So that is how I appeared for PET, the entrance test for symbiosis, and I secured a good score, and I got the JRF there. And so I was earning there. I was getting the JRF for 2 years, and then COVID happened.
Right.
So Yes, so I was not able to pursue my GRF after 2 years. 2 years maximum, one more year they gave us additional GRF. But because of circumstances during COVID, my full time, I pursued my full time, but the GRF did not continue after that. The stipend was stopped after that, the fellowship stopped.
Okay.
So after that, I actually started teaching online. I joined White Hat Junior because I know coding. I'm an engineer, so that is, and I needed, of course, financial independence was, must, especially during that time. So for 2.5 years, while I was pursuing my PhD in the last phase of my PhD, last leg, I was also associated with Byju's and White Hat Junior, and I was teaching online coding courses. So,
Okay.
and right after when I was about to, publish, end my thesis. So the writing part, the last 6 months, I quit that part as well, and
Okay.
I completely went into just writing my thesis.
Okay.
So yes,
Okay.
so 2023 initial 6 months was just dedicated to my thesis.
Right. So
Right.
let's go one by one. So was there any preparation you have to done? You have to basically do for basically cracking the PhD entrance, as they say.
Yes, so see, there is a lot of material for net as well. So I was preparing for net exam as well. Unfortunately, that year, the year that I qualified for PET symbiosis, I missed net by one question.
Oh,
So I was preparing for net, and fortunately, I cleared PET instead and not net. But yes, I think the syllabus is almost same. It's the same pattern. Net has, of course, an additional paper where it asks about general knowledge and aptitude. A lot of more questions are more in net as compared to PET. PET, you can say, is more inclined towards research methodology and then management part as well, because I was in management. So that is where, and a lot of online material is available on YouTube when you search. So I had joined a few channels online. Also, I had downloaded a question bank where I was preparing through that for my net. So that really helped me crack PT.
okay. And different universities are offering PhD programs. So was there any criteria for selecting your university as Symbiosis University?
So the criteria was that I always dreamed of entering symbiosis in my MBA because I could not crack MBA. In symbiosis, I could not gain a good rank there in the entrance. I wanted to get one degree at least from symbiosis. So I thought, okay, if not MBA, then let's go for PhD from symbiosis. So that was
Okay.
there in my mind, of course. Of course, I was aiming for IIMs as well. But then because I could not clear net, so and I did not want to waste another year. So that is why I went for symbiosis, that
Yes. Okay.
if it's this or it's that. So yes, that was the second choice.
Right. Now, after getting admission into PhD program, the other critical aspect of doing PhD is having a good supervisor. So, how did you go ahead and selected your PhD supervisor?
Okay, so I think it's one of the best things that symbiosis has, and I think you must also agree there, that they provide you with the entire list of supervisors who are eligible and their subject areas that they're working in,
Right.
and the number of vacancies that each supervisor has. Because since now I am in this industry and I know how things are going in each other universities as well, I think this is one of the best things that symbiosis does. Supervisors link the profile that suits best to the research area that they're inclined towards, contact the supervisors, and then as a supervisor agrees, then go ahead with that. So that is how I did. I actually contacted 2 to 3 supervisors that were matching my research area,
Okay.
and I which I thought would be able to help me, guide me better. And finally, I ended up with Dr. Anubha Vashisht, who actually left midway in my joined another institute because of various reasons. But then I was fortunate enough to get her in the first leg of the PhD. Second leg, of course, I again had to choose. So Dr. Nidhi S. Natarajan, who's again a gem of a person who helped me throughout. I was fortunate enough to get her as well. So this is how I got to choose my supervisors to the research area that they provide. And since I belong to Lucknow and Symbiosis Noida was already there, so that was also one of the areas that, one of the points that made me choose Dr. Anubhav. Of course, one option was in Nasik, one was in Pune, and one was in Noida. So three supervisors I had contacted, and out of three, all of them responded, but I think I went for Noida because it was closer to my hometown, and I'm the only child of my parents. So I wanted to, be closer to home as well.
Okay. So that helped you select your supervisor and connect with her. Now, another aspect or key important point in PhD is selecting your research focus area, right? Or research topic, as they say. What steps you undertook to finalize your research topic?
Okay. So basically, the first step that anyone does in research, I started open Google Scholar, typed on various topics in marketing management. Just typed on basic marketing management, recent trends, recent topics that came up in the last 5 years. I read a lot of papers about them. Then a few topics I had selected that 3 to 4 topics were there which I found very interesting. I thought it would be interesting to research on those. Then I got in touch with a few of my seniors in school or in college who were pursuing PhD. And I spoke to them, that if I choose this topic, will it be better? Or if I choose that topic, it will be better. I compared with them. And they actually helped me choose the final topic, that this is the research area which is currently a lot of people are not working on this. And that is how I finalized on that. Of course, that changed a lot once we enrolled into PhD. But then that is how I landed up and, funneled my idea at the end.
So my next question is about the same thing. How your research topic evolved from the day you identified a topic and then the day your research proposal was approved. So you must have read a lot of research paper and you must have had a lot of discussions with your supervisor as well. So many PhD aspirants will be interested in understanding how the research topic itself gets evolved over the PhD journey.
It's a very, very nice question, and I'm sure you would also agree that where we start and where we end, it's completely different. We never think of where we're going, where we reach at the end. In fact, even when I submit my thesis and I read it after a few months, I was like, did I write this? Is this what was going in my mind? So very interesting, very nice question, Dr. Sachin. So initially, when I had ended up, I just told you that I ended up with the initial topic because with the help of my seniors. But then after, of course, the coursework happened. Our research topic is finalized after we do the coursework. So in Symbiosis, the coursework is about around 6 months.
Right.
So once you learn about more about research in depth, how do you write it? How do you do the synopsis? How do you do the literature review? And then you start reading a lot about the topic that you have chosen. Then you realize, maybe if you go into this direction, it will help you more. Of course, my colleagues as well, you would also agree there. We discussed during the coursework and we got great insights. And I think it's about one of the lecture that we had about writing literature review that ma'am had taken, uh, where we had to do certain literature review. Do you remember that lecture?
Yes.
So that is actually one of the lectures which really helped me minimize and eliminate a lot of things that I had taken initially. But then I was able to realize that this is over ambitious of me and it won't be possible because this is going to be my journey itself, and I have to do it alone because the data collection part and the analysis part is all me. My guide can only assist me and guide me in the right direction, but then I have to do it. So then I filtered out a lot of things during my coursework. And by the end of that, I was able to finalize the topic. And of course, my guide immensely helped me. We were there on the because I was in Pune during my coursework.
Yeah.
My guide was in Noida. So we used to talk every day. By the end of the day, that I read these many papers, ma'am. I think that this is, happening in the field that I had chosen, and I think that we should probably go in this direction. Then she would guide me, that this is the existing framework. You can't go in this direction because this is still developing. If you'll go, you'll add more time to your topic. So then finally, of course, after having a lot of conversations, after a lot of good critical feedback from my guide, from my peers, from my seniors, I had finalized my topic. And of course, in the review, when we have the final viva, there itself, little things change.
Correct.
So even when the topic was being finalized on that day, the RRC recommended a few changes. So then, after that change, the final topic came up. In fact, it's very interesting. I'll tell you, and I think in the later questions you might ask me about this. I'll tell you there's one interesting thing about my thesis as well. So let's go about it, and we'll learn more about it.
So I think it is a good point to know our audience. Like, what was your actual research topic?
Okay, right. So my research topic was sustainable marketing practices and ethical behavior related to fashion industry in India.
Okay.
So sustainable marketing practices encompass, so it has a lot of things inside. It's an umbrella. I had taken 3 practices prevalent in the textile industry or the fashion industry currently in India. One is green marketing, the other is societal marketing, and the third was social marketing. So these 3 practices were chosen. And then ethical behavior, not in terms of just consumers was, because I remember sending questionnaires to all of you, and everyone, most of the batchmates did respond. So I'm deeply honored there as well, grateful. And then, of course, this was the consumers part, whether you know what is sustainable marketing practices, whether do you practice it in person when you're going out and buying those kind of items, do you think about it, that should I buy it or not? All these things that happen inside our mind. Are we thinking in an ethical way or not? Are we conscious about the purchase or not? So that was one perspective. The other perspective is when the marketers or when the manufacturers or the designers, when they're making these clothes or accessories, are they thinking the sustainable part? Are they practicing the sustainability part in their processes? Or are they just going for the fast fashion movement? Okay. So I was privileged enough to get in touch with homemade Indian brands who are actually genuinely practicing sustainable marketing in fashion industry, and they are doing very good work. And before COVID, in fact, I got to meet a lot of founders through certain pop-ups that used to happen. There were certain pop-ups in Delhi and Kolkata, in Mumbai. It happens in different parts of the country, that all the collaborators or the founders, they meet and they discuss the different practices that help them make their business sustainable, and how are they going to reuse whatever material is left, or how are they making the entire industry more reusable. So a lot of interesting facts came up there. So this is what my research topic was about, knowing the sustainability part and the ethical behavior part, both in terms of the consumers as well as the manufacturers.
Okay. I think that's a great topic. I mean, currently the way the world is moving towards sustainability and overall environmental or climate change, I think that really is in what you say, trending topic.
Need of the hour.
Need of the hour. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's a great topic that you finalized. Uh, of course, after finalizing topic, I think then the actual research journey typically starts, right? You have to publish papers, you have to present your half yearly and then mid review and so on and so forth. So tell me your experience about a research publication. You had any experience earlier with academic writing or academic publishing, or you this was your first time to publish a research paper?
All right. So I did not publish it before I entered the PhD, but of course I had written a few research papers in my MBA and had presented a few there in the conferences that used to happen. So yes, I had a bit of experience. You can say I knew how to maybe not that sharply or not that well, but yes, I knew how to basically structure an article. How do you write it and how do you present it? But then, of course, after our entire coursework, the understanding got better. And, when you start to write a research paper, when you go and present it in conferences, in seminars, in colloquiums, you get to understand how the other person is writing and where you're lagging behind. And you get to improve on that. So that is the main purpose. We see it initially as checklist that you have to do this. But once you do it, you understand that this is necessary because then you're learning from that part. So, for example, when I presented one of my papers, working paper of thesis at IIM Indore, it was a colloquium there, and a lot of good scholars came there. They presented their thesis as well, working paper thesis. So, when I presented there, I got a great learning, that this is how I'm going about. I am lagging here. I should be probably working in one aspect of my research rather than focusing more on my literature review. I should be more focusing on improving the data, or maybe let's say the case study that I'm working on. Great insights. We get great insights from conferences and colloquiums and seminars.
Right,
So
right,
one should always go and be a part of it, even if you're having a working paper, even if you don't have a complete paper. I think we should always go and present it, because you come to know where you are lagging, and you get great insights there. People actually go and help you out, go out of the way to help you. So yes, that is one of the best learning in the journey that you get. And of course, publication
right.
is one of the major, we can say, the toughest step towards the
Correct.
PhD journey. Getting a good Scopus Index publication or an SCI publication
Yeah.
or Web of Science publication,
Yes.
APDC. So yes, that was one of the major, I think, step that elongated my journey, stretched it, because it took more than a year, 2 years to get it published. It was there in process, the paper's there, it's accepted, all the changes have been done. But then somehow the press is taking time, the publication, the editor is not well, something or the other happens, the
Right.
COVID thing happened. So it gets delayed. So I would advise anyone, first thing that you do when you start doing your research, you have the literature. There are a lot of new analysis that have come up in literature review itself, which are great. You should actually go and publish your literature, whatever you're doing research on literature, publish it then and
Correct.
there in
Correct.
the first year itself, because that will take another 2 years to get published. So that is one of the learning that I had in my journey. That if someone would have just told me at the beginning that, just don't focus on conferences so much in the initial year. Conferences did happen throughout the journey. Focus on getting it published. Then it would have probably reduced my time of completion of my journey. So yes. But of course, I did have my guide there who helped me. She used
Okay.
to push me, whenever we never got a reply, she used to say, extract it. Let's go to some other journal. She used to push me because after every 6 months, I used to be, ma'am, it's not getting published. And not, the reviews are also there, but then nothing is happening. Or sometimes there were no reviews for 1 year. And I was like,
Yeah.
why is this happening? We've
Correct.
done so much of hard work in making this research paper and still nothing. So then she actually gave me a push a lot of times, both my guides, my Dr. Anubhav as well and Dr. Nithin Nasrajan as well, that, don't be demoralized. It'll happen. When it's supposed to happen, it'll happen then only, but don't, wait for it. Keep writing papers, keep communicating them to different journals, keep targeting good journals, and it'll
Right.
happen when it's going to happen. So yes, this was the learning, that you should never stop writing research paper. Have at least 4 to 5 in your pipeline. That
Correct.
you've communicated 3 to 4, you'll get feedback, and you have ready 4 to 5 papers that you can communicate further. So that was one of the learnings that I had.
Great. Great. Because many of the PhD scholars struggle in getting their research work published, and that sometimes
Yes.
elongate overall PhD
Is
completion. And many a times they have to sometimes drop out because of duration limits that are imposed on the PhD program. So I think that's one of the key things that all PhD aspirants need to keep in mind, that the day they get enrolled into PhD admission, they have to target a few publications well in time. Right, right.
Yes, very necessary. In fact, I think which one of our batchmates only, Dr. Akansha, uh, she collaborated with her guide actually helped her as well, and this was a learning that if you collaborate with your seniors, they would also, because they have already had the experience of getting
Right.
published,
Yeah.
right? So if you connect with them, keep connecting with them, they will help you out. They will tell you the targeted journals because they know which journals will take what amount of time and how will they communicate. So get in touch with all the seniors that you have, with batch, with your peers, with people already there in academia. Ask your supervisors, ask other faculties, because in your coursework you will be in touch with a lot of faculties who are going to come and teach you. So get in touch with them, do a lot of networking, because I think publication is also publication networking is very important. You'll come to know a lot about a lot of journals which have lesser time, which publish in lesser time, good journals, good rating journals. It's just that you don't know about them. You are not able to target them. So I think networking is one of the key roles that you have to do when you're going to publish it, and you have to start from day zero when you
Yeah,
enroll yourself in PhD.
correct. And while we initially discussed PhD is a lot of time it feels that it's a lonely journey. But the more you
Very
communicate with your peers, your seniors, with other industry experts, it becomes a collaborative journey, right?
correct, correct, absolutely. So a lot of time, I think you would also agree there. It becomes a lonely journey, because then you are doing that part of the research all on your own, and no one else is there to talk to you about it, or maybe understand what you're thinking. That even your supervisor, I mean, your supervisor can not always be there. Yes, of course, if you have doubts, they'll come and assist you. They'll guide you. They'll help you. They'll push your morale up. But then you would have to do the entire thing, and it gets lonely a lot of time, especially when you have negative reviews or you have no publications. That is the time when I think maximum people drop out in PhD. So we don't. I think that is the moment. That is the time that you should always push yourself. That
Right.
so what's not happening right now? It'll happen in some time. You just need to keep on writing. So अगर अभी ये नहीं हो रहा, this is one of the things that I did. If my publication was not happening in my research area, I started writing a few articles on different research area.
Okay.
It'll be something different. Let's write a paper not related to my research. It'll be good for my thought. So
Correct.
I did that as well. So that helped me.
Great, great. So a lot of good insights on research publication there. I guess regarding presentations to committee as well, there are a few things that one should keep in mind, right? For example, a lot of question comes with respect to your own research methodology, selection criteria, the sample size, so and so forth. So, what research methodology you followed, and did you do a quantitative study or qualitative or mixed methods? That will be helpful for audience.
All right. So I did a mixed methodology, both quantitative and qualitative, as I said, because I had the consumer part, which is purely quantitative. I got the responses and I did a quantitative study there. But whereas the insights were concerned about the marketers or the manufacturers, that was the personal interview. It was
Okay.
mostly qualitative, converted in case studies. So it was a mixed method and took a lot of time, because while I was collecting my data for my interviews, this was just before COVID.
Okay.
And then COVID happened. Though my interviews were lined during that time. And then COVID happened, lockdown happened. And then, of course, I got a major setback, because a lot of people, a lot of founders were not well. Maybe their workers were not well. A few of them not in good condition financially also. They went to their own villages. So they were not willing to then talk to me. So I had to wait a lot of time. My mid-review was pending. My semester report was pending. And the only thing I could show in my semester report during 2020 was that, I was just I had initially started with my interview and it just got, I think, one or two interviews. That is it. That is all I could do. But then I think everyone understood that part because everyone was going through it. And then thankfully, uh, by the end of 2020, I was able to connect through most of my person who had or the people who were founders or manufacturers, marketers working in different brands through online, through phone calls, and a few of them did get back to me, and I was able to collect my data for the qualitative part, and then quantitative happened after COVID got over.
Okay.
So then, yes, that helped me, but of course that prolonged the timeline, which was difficult to sometimes face in the mid reviews and the semester reports because the reviewers do ask you, and then that is considered as a negative part. You have to stick to your timelines when you are presenting certain reports.
Correct.
And so that was one of the negative things that came up, sticking to timelines. No matter what happens, you have to be prepared for a plan B. That,
Right.
okay, if you're not able to collect this data, what are you supposed to do then? Maybe you can start writing your chapters, maybe the introduction of the literature. You can at least complete the chapters, or maybe you focus more on the publication part then, or you focus more on doing some conferences or some online courses related to that. So that also helps because that is also part of your growing in your PhD journey, and reviewers take that part as well into consideration. So you can always enroll yourself into courses or certifications that is going to help you. Maybe if you're doing SEMs in your data analysis, so maybe you can enroll into a course which will help you understand the entire process in a better way. So of course, a lot of time goes there in learning the entire, the tool. So go and enroll yourself there while you're collecting data, because data will not come to you immediately, or maybe there will be some hindrance or the other in your entire journey. So have backup plans, have plan B, that while I'm doing this, if this does not work, I can always do this. And this is what will show in my semester reports.
Correct.
So after COVID, I learned this, that you should always have a plan B. That if you're not able to complete this timeline, then what are you going to do?
Right. So I think that's a great insight actually for everyone, that one should have some or the other activity always continuing and never get stuck at
Right.
one point, because there are multiple things that you need to take care during your PhD journey, like thesis writing, research publications, data collection, data analysis. So one or the other things can keep you busy, and don't get kind of stuck because of one thing is not moving. So that way, doing
Right.
parallel activities will help you eventually to kind of complete your PhD within time. Right.
Correct.
You
Correct.
mentioned that you used a few tools during your PhD. So what were those tools that mainly used during your PhD?
Okay. So one was, of course, AMOS, SPSS AMOS.
Okay.
And SPSS itself, I used it for regression analysis and CFA, confirmatory factor analysis part.
Okay.
And then AMOS, I used for SEM, structural equation modeling.
Okay.
So I learned AMOS online through certifications, and I had actually learned it in my institute that is Symbiosis Noida. So we
Right.
had a workshop for a week there, and the faculty of Noida itself was doing that workshop, and we learned it there, and I revised it online as well
Okay.
through certification. So yes, so that is the tool that I used. I used both SPSS for regression and CFA, and then I used AMOS for SEM, that is structural equation modeling.
Great, great. I think, yeah, most of us who have done quantitative analysis have used IBM SPSS, of course, and then either PLS SCM or IBM AMOS, depending on the methodology or what you say criteria for selecting the tool. Okay. Now coming
Right.
towards end of our discussion. So after your research hypothesis, methodology, data collection, data analysis, uh, you kind of wrote your thesis and then submitted to university. I understand based on my experience as well that your thesis goes for external reviews and then you have to incorporate. What was your experience during that time?
All right, so I'll just share. So when I had submitted my thesis, not thesis, when I submitted my mid review for the first time, that was actually rejected.
Okay.
So I had to rework, and I took 1 year to rework on it. And then I redid the entire thing, especially my data analysis part, because one of the comments the reviewers gave was that you don't have sufficient amount of data. So I had to collect a more number of samples, analyze that again, redo it, and then, of course, present it again in my mid review, which which played out positively, because after that everything went smooth.
Okay.
Once I did that, reworked on it, my submission was great. I got good feedback there. My final submission that happened, my pre-submission that happened, and even the reviewers, the international reviewers, the national reviewers, I did not have any negative feedback there. So all
Okay.
of them liked it. They gave good reviews, and they suggested to go ahead with the thesis finally. So that is actually a great learning, because when I was rejected for the first time in the mid review, I had to redo it. I was very sad. I had a setback, that I did so much of work, and then why are they doing this? But then everything happens for a reason, as they say. And this
Yeah.
was, and actually, Dr. Pohekar did point it out then, that you're feeling very low right now. I know, I understand. But then realize this: it does not look well when you present your thesis in front of the external in the final day, and then something gets pointed out. So it's
Right.
best that it's pointed out here
As early as
in
possible.
while you're doing, yes,
Yeah.
as early as possible while you're doing the work, than to be presented at the last stage and then you have to redo everything. So that was a great learning. So that really helped me at the end. So at the end, when I was submitting my thesis and everything, thankfully I got good reviews, and I think a matter of 3 months I got reviews, and I submitted the thesis, and I got the final submission done.
You mentioned one point during initial discussion that you want to you have one story regarding your research topic, right? Uh, I think audience is interested in understanding that. What happened with your research topic? Was there any changes that you felt or you didn't anticipate and you had to do?
So yeah, so the interesting thing was when everything was finalized, at the pre-submission stage, when I was going to get a printout, in the final review meeting, my one word was added to my final title.
Okay.
So that was a change, and I found it very interesting. Just one small word added to my title, and of course, then if you have to incorporate that, you have to incorporate it in all the printings as well.
All
So
right.
that was interesting. That was the only feedback that I got. Miss one word strongly. So strong brand loyalty. Instead of just brand loyalty, it was strong brand loyalty.
Okay.
The topic of my thesis was sustainable marketing practices and ethical behavior leading to brand loyalty. So I was
Okay.
working towards brand loyalty, how these two practices ultimately lead to a good brand loyalty customer. But I think because good insights came from the consumer's part as well. So the reviewer said that these are good insights, and I think it is leading to strong, not just brand loyalty. So add the word strong there. So that was
Basically,
interesting. That is a
yeah, as a PhD scholar, you have to be ready to incorporate your change. I mean, the changes suggested by the panels or the experts at any
at
point of
any
time.
stage.
Yeah, it can be at the initial stage or it can be almost at the end stage as well. Right.
Yes. In fact, one of our colleagues, Dr. Jyoti, I think she had to incorporate a change. I think there was a slight change in her title as well at the last.
Right.
So
Yeah.
You can't just expect everything to go well. Even at the last interview, something or
Correct.
the other might come up, and you just have to take it in good spirits. That
Correct.
this is a feedback I will incorporate. Don't be negative about it,
Right.
because this is by the end of it going towards you only, your
Yes.
betterment, your growth.
Correct.
So if you start taking things in a negative way, you will feel that why is this happening to me. But if you start, always analyze it in a positive way. Okay, this is the feedback that I'm given. Let's work on it, and I'll make this thesis in a better way. So that is one of the learning. Don't be negative when you get any critical feedback. It's
Right.
always for the good.
One other question that I had in mind, because some of us were doing PhD in part-time mode, we didn't have option of JRF or SRF kind of positions. So I want to understand overall, like what does it, I mean, it requires to kind of get into a JRF position, who approves it, and what kind of activities you have to do as part of JRF and SRF?
Okay. So JRF and SRF are basically employees of the university. So we
Okay,
work for the university because we are paid for it. So basically, you have to work as a research assistant, research associate, you can say.
okay,
So you have to do research in your thesis, but also for the university. And also, if required, you can go and teach as well.
okay,
So yes, so any work related to academics, if the university requires you to be on duty, you have to be on duty from that particular time. So let's say the university is open from 9 to 5, so you will have to report in the university from 9 to 5, do your own research, but along with that, any other work that the university has and is related to your academic level, you will have to go and do it.
okay,
So that is how JRF or SRF works for the university, and that is how our JD is defined.
okay. Great, great. So I think we have covered most of the journey in this short discussions. What is your probably advice to PhD aspirants who are aiming to do PhD or who are already enrolled into PhD but thinking lost somewhere?
Okay, one of the major learning or key point to keep in mind, those who are aspiring to go into this journey, you have to always know this, that it is going to be a lonely journey. You have to be very headstrong and stay strong towards the entire journey, because no matter even if you finish in 2 3 years or 4 years or 5 years or 6 years, so the entire timeline will be lonely, but you can change it by networking constantly and discussing your topic constantly with anyone that you get in touch. So that is how you break that loneliness, and that is how you grow in this journey. So all the people who are currently in this journey or aspiring to be, that is one of the major things, that net always go for talk to people, discuss your topic as much as possible, and try to learn, get insights, and keep writing down whatever insights that you get. By the end of the day, this was interesting. I think I can incorporate it. Maybe I can work on it better, or just keep discussing about your research areas, and then you'll come to know a lot of things from different people. You'll be surprised how many people would give you insights. People who don't even belong to your research field might know things about it. So it's always best to talk about it and not just keep it restricted to yourself. If I'll not talk about it, someone might take this idea, because that's usually not how it happens. People are inclined towards the research, would work towards it, and those who find it good enough, they would collaborate with you. So be open towards that idea, keep discussing it, keep networking, keep always be in touch, and help out others as well. So yes, that is one of the major things, that if you think that you're able to help someone in this journey, in any journey, in fact, always be of help. So yes.
I think that's a great point to conclude our discussion today, Dr. Divyansha. I would extend my heartfelt gratitude for joining this discussion and helping PhD aspirants. I wish you all the best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sachin. I once again would like to thank you for providing me this platform and sharing my experience. I had a lot of fun talking about my experiences, and I wish and I hope if someone is able to gain any insight, or it will help anyone for that matter, or if anyone wants any help, they can always reach out to us. We're all
Yes,
there on LinkedIn. I think we can always connect and collaborate and
yes.
work together. So yes, LinkedIn is one of the major platforms that you need to be very, very active on. So I'm always there. I can always collaborate and be, if any need, if you think that you need any help, I'll always be there. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.